Thank you all very much. Thank you, Tom, for your generous introduction, for your warm welcome. It's a pleasure to be with all of you again, the National Farmers Union. We've been through a lot together over time. Tom says he's introduced me once, twice, 3 times. It seems like many more times than that. We've been at least on the same program, working to understand together the aspirations and the challenges faced by America's family farmers and to do something about it. I'm a little more subdued than I might have been coming to see you right now. I just left a meeting of a reception and a tribute that we were paying to America's wounded warriors, and I thought, well, they'll understand that our veterans, our wounded veterans, we had a reception for them and a presentation and honoring them. And then I came here and I met the Reinvestment family, and it's just the most stunning experience. I'm sure you're all aware that the beautiful family is here, and they're here to, in a generosity of spirit, to help America understand the plight of America's family farmers, the challenges that you all face, and in California particularly, with the drought on top of everything else. Their families and the dairy farmers, my husband's family, the Bianchis in Marin County, were dairy farmers as well. And I just want to salute them, as all of them, the entire family, for their courage, their generosity of spirit, and the difference that they are making because they're willing to share their story. Thank you so much. This beautiful family, from 2 years old to 8 years old. In that spirit of that we are in a very difficult time, and that difficulty in our economy and it has its consequences personally for America's family farmers. So for that reason and for many others, I was looking forward to this opportunity to be back with you today. It's my understanding that I will be getting an award. Will that come later? Well, I want to thank you in advance for it, and I'm very proud to be receiving in the company of the new Secretary of Agriculture, Secretary Vilsack, the chairman of our committee, Mr. Colin Peterson, whom we've all worked very closely with, Tom Harkin, Senator and Chairman Harkin, and is that it? Is 4 of us? In any event, I consider myself to be in very excellent company, especially when it comes to America's family farmers, and I will display the Golden Triangle Award well, I already have the Golden Triangle Award. That is already on display in my office, and this will now join that, the Family Farmers Award. Thank you. Tom Bias, what can be said about Tom Bias? Probably one of the most effective people that any of us will ever work with. Person who knows his issue, has deep values, loves America, and wants to do the right thing for America's family farmers, as he has done in his leadership role at the National Farmers Union. I know he's going to be going on to other things now, but every opportunity I get, I want to sing his praises. He has made such a tremendous, tremendous difference. Thank you, Tom Bias, for your leadership. Joaquin Content, where did you go to sit down? I just saw you out there in the hall. There he is, Joaquin Content from California. Any Californians here? Let's hear it. I'm pleased to be here with all the farmers, the Farmers Union representatives from California as well. On a series of occasions, we had come together to talk about the Farm Bill and what would be in that, no matter how difficult the negotiations were. The National Farmers Union always saw a way through it all. A tremendous intellectual resource to us by virtue of your knowledge, experience, and the change that we needed to make, as well as the resources we needed to allocate. It was really one of these days I'm going to write a book on it because it was one of the most transforming experiences of my life. I never learned so much. Up until then, I just took my guidance from others on farm bills, and now we had to write one. But we banded together to make historic investments in American farmer and rural communities, and I thank you for your support and your leadership on that, and I thank you, Tom, in that regard. This year, your impact was felt in the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act. Just last week, the Federal Reserve Bank issued its report. They have something called the Beige Book, and that is its report on the state of the economy. It confirmed what we already know, that in agriculture, prices are down, sales are down, and America's farmers and ranchers are experiencing the consequences of that. We understand that in Congress, I want you to know, and I'm speaking as Speaker of the House, but also as leader of the Democrats. Democrats understand this, and that is why we made sure in the recovery bill that we addressed some of the concerns of rural America. We have, as you know, you have led the way on the issue of America's farmers leading the charge for America's energy independence, and that is recognized in this legislation with funding. We had a fight, believe it or not, when you saw that talk about bipartisanship in the House and the Senate and this or that. One of our big fights was to have adequate funding and expand broadband to rural America. And the trimming that people were doing, they thought that was a good place to trim. I didn't, do you? And so we won that fight to have the resources that were necessary to expand broadband in rural America. It's not only important for rural America, but if we're really going to function as a country from a technological standpoint, it's good for the whole country if rural America is included in that broad, because it has to be universal, high speed, always on, for everyone. And so in strengthening it for rural America, of course, it was much better for everyone in America, and isn't that frequently the case? And of course, we made significant investments in disaster assistance. We seem to always be having that conversation, aren't we? I remember we were in Florida, and we made the commitment there. We made the announcement it was going to happen, and then it did because of your hard work. But the disasters continue, the need continues, so we have again. We see real opportunities in rural America as we go forward. That's because in America's farmers, again, you will fuel America's energy independence. I was so proud that the President stood on the steps of the Capitol on the day of his inauguration, and he said, "We will harness the wind, we will harness the sun, we will harness the soil to fuel our cars and to run our factories." Many of those elements are in abundance, especially the soil. And what it grows in rural America, and his placing that as a priority was important to us. And just 1 week and 1 day after that speech, we had some of that reflected already in the Recovery Act, but more to come as we go forward with our energy bills. And the Farmers Union, of course, has been in the lead in every step of the way, from supporting our efforts to pass comprehensive energy legislation. In the last Congress, when we passed that legislation, you all were very much a part of it. The Farm Bill, of course, it almost goes without saying. And as we go forward on some of the trade issues, it's very important that we work together. We're coming up now with a cap-and-trade legislation that will be part of the initiative on global warming. So we'll have to stay in close touch on how that legislation is written. But again, that's one trade piece. There are many other trade pieces, and I don't know if you've heard from Colin yet, but he has some definite views on the subject that we in Congress benefit very much from. We have big challenges in the country today. You know, we can try to resolve certain issues discreetly in different sectors of our economy, in different parts of our country. But we really do have to get the economy moving again. And it's going to take a great deal of our ingenuity and a great deal of sacrifice as well.